one summer's evening, standing on the mound. The ballpark's full of cheering crowd. Home team's back in town. With all pitches at his command, stares the batter down. Lets it fly, a nasty curve.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Painting Corners Baseball Podcast. This is your co-host, Johnny C., along with Aidan Smith. And tonight, we are watching a nail-biter happen in the battle in Seattle. Just watched Riley Green pop out on an Andres Munoz pitch that had us all wondering, is he going to give it up right here? Is this going to be the inning where the Tigers take back the lead? What a game. What a fantastic performance by Skubal. I'm on the edge of my seat. I got it open on MLB Game Day Live. What about you, Aidan? How are you doing?
Doing well. I was actually trying out the old radio deal, trying to take away the visual and just use my imagination there. So it's a nice change of pace. But yeah, I mean, Munoz has that nasty slider, and he kind of ran it in on Riley, who's a left-handed hitter, obviously. So really nice pitch, able to execute. I think Riley could have probably done something with it. I mean, it was over the plate from what I saw on game day. So, a good hitter like that definitely could have done damage there. So the Mariners are lucky to get away with one.
My boy Tyler Holton not doing it. My 2024 fantasy baseball king, straight out of Florida State, 29 years old. The baseball savant's looking a little like icicle season in February, Vermont. We're throwing 91 mile an hour fastballs and making it work at the major leagues, and we love Tyler Holton, but that was you hate to see, I mean, for the Tigers fans at least, give up the lead after that monstrous Kerry Carpenter lefty on lefty matchup home run.
Kerry always seems to come through in the big moments. I don't know what his clutch numbers are, but they've got to be good. I feel like whenever Detroit needs a big hit, he's one of those guys, like Luis Ariz has always been one of those guys throughout the regular season, maybe even more so than the playoffs. But whenever it's, tie game, you got guys in second and third. He's just one of those guys who always seems to come through. So to me, Carey is the guy on that Detroit team who always hits the big hit. But yeah, the Tigers bullpen isn't what it was last year, right? I mean, Tommy Canley hasn't really had a great year. Will Vest has been pretty reliable, but yeah, a guy like Tyler Holton was much better last year. So they don't have quite the bite that they did, even though Kyle Finnegan's been pretty good since they got him.
I remember Finnegan, I believe, was quite a surprise on the Nationals coming in as a closer, and I remember he had some pretty nice numbers for the past couple seasons before coming on over to Detroit. So it's good to see him have a little.
Sure.
Bit of a renaissance, somewhat of a shakeup into the AL.
Finnegan saved 38 games last year, actually made his first All-Star team. But if you actually look at his peripherals last year, I mean, he was hit pretty hard.
Right.
The strikeouts aren't great, right? You're under 9K per 9. So not really a typical closer. But that being said, I mean, he does get the job done. He's got a 1.50 and 16 appearances for Detroit since they got him from Washington. So he's been pretty solid, but the big thing is Skubal going, 6 innings and keeping him in the game, right? Because, I mean, last year, I don't think Detroit would have gotten anywhere last year without Tarek Skubal. They had Reese Olson instead of Casey Mize as their number 2. But man, they could have used they could have used Jack Flaherty. So I think Detroit kind of wizened up by not trading away quite so many pieces this year. But I mean, last year they ended up finding themselves here in the same series, and they were kind of missing that third starter. I don't know if you remember Flaherty getting traded
to the Dodgers and then back again. Yeah, it was a fantastic move, almost like some 5D chess by the Detroit front office, if you think about it.
I mean, it was in the sense that, yeah, they got him back, and they got a little bit of a return, but I mean, they could have used him against Cleveland.
100%. Arguably, Flaherty might have been even better last year. I just know that this year there's been so many games where it's like he's just getting knocked around. But hey, when he's on and that curve is hitting, the slider's hitting, it's something to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think this game has been kind of exemplary. We got it on Gamecast right now. Big Dumper is actually hitting the bottom of the eighth, but the Mariners' struggles in this game have been, a good microcosm example of what's been happening this year for them, right? They're boom or bust. When things are good, they're great. But, today, as an example, no home runs. You only got 2 runs in the eighth inning. The bullpen's been good today, but game 4, not so much, right? Gabe Spear, you had Bastardo, really none of the guys had their stuff, and you just saw the Mariners just fall apart. And I think was it Javi Baez who hit like a 3-run homer or something like that in game 4, and you just felt the Mariners' soul just being, just grim reaper right out of their chest,
All right, so as is mentioned by our lovely orchestral performance by the one and only Ned Clement O'Brien, alluding to the hot takes that come in. Johnny Hotcakes here. Let me tell you something. Johnny Hotcakes. As the resident AL West fan of the not Mariners, the team we will not mention that has not made the playoffs, I've got to say, here's my alternative take. Whenever the Mariners come to the plate, I'm shaking in my boots if I'm cheering against them. And I think that their struggles tonight may be a microcosm of past hitting struggles reminiscent for Mariners fans that have seen this before. But for people that are just tuning in and that have been watching this Mariners team play and struggle the past few years, in the AL West to try and claw the big bad wolf.
Sure.
When these guys come back up, I'm shaking in my boots. And I think that's really more to credit Tarek Skubal for their struggles tonight. Like blowing 101 past Cal Raleigh was just phenomenal to watch. That was just good baseball. But I really feel, especially with the acquisitions of Suarez and, Eugenio, the reunion there, and Randy last year coming over, there is a formidable lineup, but also you have the surprise, the diamond in the rough of Polanco's career resurgence, where I feel like when they roll that lineup around, I'm watching with bated breath if I'm rooting against the M's.
I agree, and I mean with Polanco hitting 2 homers off Skubal, and
that'll do it.
Was that game 1? Yeah. So I mean, he's been fantastic, and I mean 7.75 million over 1 year, coming off a major knee surgery. Didn't look like he was going to play any defense, and you had a lot of people saying, WTF, what are we doing here? Bringing back a guy who hit like a sack of crap all year, and he may as well keep his glove in his locker, right? And the whole thing is, you can let Jorge stand at third or stand at second, right? But he's only going to get balls that are hit right at him, and the defense has been like a little bit better than that, but really where the resurgence has been offensively. And I don't know if you recall this, but I mean, he really only DH'd for the first few months of the season. Now they got him in the field, but it was nice how they eased him into the transition. I think that plays a role in why he's healthy right now.
What's the white part of the eye? You got the color, you got the iris. What's the white part? We just calling that the eyeball. Because the Mariners have got some real interesting eyeball to eye color ratio players. The Polanco and Julio 10,000 yard stare, it just, God, it kind of skeeves you out. It's pretty intense.
I'm not really the pronunciation guy, but it looks like it's the Schlera.
Yeah,
is that a silent S? I don't know.
We love, by the way, this podcast loves a couple people in baseball. Shout out Joey Lopervito, but resident podcast favorite. But also, I feel like last time we were talking about Jorge Polanco and mentioning how other teams were interested in him in the offseason. The Astros, Dana Brown was really going after Jorge as an alternative bat. And I think last ep I was talking down how we didn't want him. And, this speaks to his credit. It's not a fluke. It's not a flash in the pan. This guy, he hit 2 bombs off Skubal in that foul ball tonight. You saw that? That was, oh my goodness gracious. Skubal saw that. His reaction said it all. So I think whatever Polanco's doing, whatever Big Dumper's doing, there is something brewing in Seattle. And it's worth watching. This game is fantastic. It's really some good baseball for their fans.
You know what I really saw was Cole Keith get thrown out by that absolutely perfect dime. That was a rope from Cal Raleigh. JP
This
had the
whole
glove
game,
right where it
dude.
was supposed to be, right?
This whole game has been A plus baseball, and yeah, JP catching it there. I mean, even the broadcast was talking about how that was a bang bang, um, not a bang bang play in terms of timing as much, but just JP playing a real role and Cal Raleigh showing off that platinum glove, really platinum arm.
Yeah, I
So
mean, honestly, I kind of want to see Cal play shotgun formation and just start, do an outpost and just seeing who he can hit, right? Let's get prime Randy Moss out there with Cal under center and see how he does.
now, just for our fans out there and people tuning in right now, for context, it is October 10th, and we are watching this Mariners game live. Andres Munoz, 15 pitches, 16 pitches deep, throwing to Spencer Torkelson right now. We are looking at the top of the ninth inning, and the Mariners' heart just struck out. So Cal and Julio just got struck out by Will Vest to close out the eighth. So we don't know what's going to happen. And
Not great.
meanwhile, while we're taking a pause there for this game to pick up more action, see what happens, let's take a dip on over to the National League. Brewers and Cubs, what's going on?
I mean, close series. Matt Boyd stepped up big in Game 4. I think a lot of people thought that the Cubs were going to run out of pitching, but it just hasn't happened, right? They've had their backs up against the wall, and they haven't gone away.
Who is your biggest surprise Cubs player?
Ooh. Position player, pitcher, or it doesn't matter?
We're going to have to rule out pitching just right because it's like that's your moment, that's your day, that's your spot, that's your part of the order to take care of. Let's stick with position player. I think with playoffs, that's really where we see a lot of spark happen, more of the magic occur.
So, okay, so yeah, let's start with position player, and then I'll give you a pitcher too. But for position player this year, I mean, I'd probably have to go with PCA, but he's not the same guy he was in the first half.
What about this postseason, though?
I mean, I guess I would say the unit as a whole, I'd probably have to say Michael Busch. Well, even Nico Horner, right? I mean, Nico's a contact guy, but I mean, I have the Cubs numbers right in front of me. Nico's hitting .429 in 7 games in the playoffs so far.
Fantastic.
It's hard not to be impressed with that, especially when you're talking about a premium defender. He doesn't really make a lot of mistakes, whether it be base running. There's not a lot of swing and miss. He's just a complete player. So, when you have a guy like that, putting up a WOBA over 400, he's, one of the best players on the field, if not the best, because he does everything else so well, right? You could honestly probably stick him at short, and I think he'd be fine. Dansby, of course, is holding it down for Chicago there, and he's a Gold Glove defender himself. But yeah, I'd probably go Nico. How about yourself?
Yeah, and just for podcast folks tuning in, we like to use the stats of the times, but if you're not tracking WOBA, that's pretty much think of like on base percentage, but more weighted for situational hitting. So you're getting points for are you doing more damage in times that matter in ways that move the needle effectively. So there's lots of fancy math behind it, but I think that speaks a lot, right? When we're bringing up Nico Horner's WOBA, we're saying this guy, he's not making mistakes on defense, which is not accounted for in WOBA. That's just anecdotal or an aside.
Mm-hmm.
And then his hits are really coming clutch for the Cubs. For me, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, 6.1 BWAR, and that's an aside from the playoffs. I'm just talking what kind of player is Nico, right? But 29 bags, 6.1 BWAR. He won the Gold Glove back in 23. His per 162, 282, 340, 384 slash line. He's hitting 8 bombs per 162. So there's not a ton of power, but he does everything else well. And he strikes out, 10 to 15% of the time, which is very strong. So 49 Ks this year, in 649 plate appearances. So this year he's been even better than he has been historically. But we also do have an announcement that the Mariners were able to get out of the top of the ninth unscathed. So that's a big deal, right? Getting through torque, the power there. Keith, who's just this all around total hitter, and then McKinstry, who's really more of a utility infielder type guy. But I mean, really, all three of those guys are solid hitters. There's not really a lot of weak hitters. I mean, you got Javi Baez hitting ninth, and he's an all-star this year. So for me, that's part of the reason why Detroit has been successful this year. And I would say that the front office has done a nice job of recognizing where some of their shortfalls were. There just clearly wasn't enough offense last year in the playoffs, and they ran out of gas. But you've seen them add some pieces. A lot of that's been developmental. Cole Keith and so forth. So, what do you think about this Tigers lineup, John?
Well, just to close off for the Cubs, I wanted to make one note that something that stands out to me is, and you know what I'll do? I'm going to bring this back to the Tigers lineup. I'm going to tie it together with the Tigers and the Brewers because I like to dance around and bring it all home in one. When I'm looking at the eye test of looking at a roster in the paper, and I see the Brewers and I see the Tigers, there's nothing, with the exception of Kerry Carpenter, but Kerry Carpenter is not Aaron Judge. Okay, he's not Juan Soto. He's not Yordan Alvarez. He's not even, to some degree, a PCA or a Kyle Tucker. There is no one on the Brewers lineup. There's no one in the Detroit Tigers lineup that I'm looking at and I'm just going, goodness gracious, please come back around. And we have a guaranteed chance of something happening here. And I think that's interesting, where I feel like when I'm looking on paper, at least, the team that really feels built, besides the Los Angeles Dodgers, to win for me is the Chicago Cubs. When I'm looking at this lineup, okay, walk with me. It's the playoffs. We've got Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ, Michael Busch rocking 4 RBIs, Kyle Tucker, who's not making headlines with, game-saving plays or home runs. He's rocking a 429 on base percentage and notably 5 walks. We know how fast Kyle Tucker is, 5-tool player, can steal any bag. This lineup, top to bottom, and like you said, Nico Horner at the top of that. He's your defensive stud who's hitting your best. What's going on? And so I think that's my take on the Tigers is, and it's not a knock on them. It's not a knock on Kerry Carpenter. It's just that he's not Yordan. He's not Judge. There's not that element of, I really hope it comes back around to him because therefore the game will be decided. I really hope it comes back to the top of the lineup so we got a shot to make some offense happen. We don't know who's going to contribute. And I think with the Brewers, it's kind of similar. They're at top of the NL, the best record. Yelich is great. Frelick is clutch. There's Enchurio playing through the injury. He's your star power. But still, I don't see that one player on there that just speaks to me of this lineup is built for the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, you got Trang hitting third right now, and it's not, I'm not saying this as a pejorative or an indictment on Trang. It's just, is Bryce Trang really a 3-hitter? I mean, I don't know about that. I think they got red hot at the right time. They're a really good ball club, but I see where you're coming from in that the offense can get a little underwhelming. I mean, Jake Bauers is a guy who was on waivers here or there, and that's what the Brewers do, right? They find guys like Andrew Vaughn that they can acquire for a quad A starter like Aaron Savale, who is they might have cut him anyway if they couldn't have traded him, right? So I don't think that they were shedding tears trading Savale to the White Sox there, but getting a guy like Vaughn, who I think ended up hitting over 300 for the Brewers after since the trade, if I remember correctly. You got a guy like Caleb Durbin, who they got from the Devin Williams trade. So this line, and then Joey Ortiz from Baltimore. So they piece together this lineup. Churio, Terrain, those guys are homegrown. Frelick, Contreras obviously came from Atlanta originally. But I mean, the bottom of this lineup is homegrown. The bottom of this lineup has been pieced together and really just finding value in getting surplus trades is how the Brewers have gotten here. But I would agree with you that Despite their ingenious roster structuring, they're definitely not the strongest lineup in the playoffs or even the second strongest. They do have a better bullpen though. The Cubs don't have the strongest bullpen out there.
By the same token, I'm saying these things about the Tigers and the Brewers. I will tell our fans I am rooting for the Brewers and I'm rooting for the Tigers, in addition to the Toronto Blue Jays. Those are the three teams I'd love to see do the most damage and go the deepest. As the resident Astros fan, I'm just saying that against the Mariners for obvious reasons. No offense there. And the Dodgers can take care of themselves. They don't need anybody to cheer for them. They're doing great and they got a ton of fans and good for LA. Wonderful stuff. For me, by the same token, when I'm saying this about the Brewers and the Tigers, it really speaks to, I think, baseball. That these are actually, you said it yourself, these are teams. There's no one player that's really standing out as this big poppy stud. It's just like somehow these guys, they get hot. And again, it's not a flash in the pan. There's really chemistry. They really flow into one another. When you string a Torkelson and a Green and a Kerry Carpenter together, it's kind of like you're getting your Jordan. I'm not saying they equal that in terms of stats, but they make it work, and it's really fun to watch. It allows for guys like AJ Hinch to start playing chess in unique little ways, where it's a real team effort. You're platooning batters, you're playing the matchups perfectly, and that's part of the dance of playoff baseball.
It is. I mean, one thing you got to give Detroit is, they've only hit 5 homers and 271 plate appearances in the playoffs, and they're hitting 218. So, the offense hasn't been great, but they found a way to win games, and that's what it's all about. The Brewers, for example, actually are tied with the Dodgers with a 108 WRC plus, so they're one of the top offenses in the league, but it hasn't really felt like it, and I think some of that is kind of garbage time where they've had a game where they're up 4 or 5 runs and they just kind of keep piling on. That's just been my eye test experience. But the Phillies had a really solid team, and Kyle Schwarber said it felt something like from the bottom of my heart, I felt like this was the team, and I get it. I think it did feel that way. Where my feelings started to change on the Phillies is the blood clot problems for Zach Wheeler. And I hope that he's okay on a personal level. I mean, obviously the pitching is not the most important thing, but from an organizational standpoint, going on a playoff run, missing your, I guess you could say, number 2 starter, because Christopher Sanchez has really kind of run away with it. He had a 2.5 this year over 30-something starts. So, but Wheeler's got the postseason experience. He's got the pedigree. Losing him was a big loss. Having to open with Aaron Nola there, and then you got Ranger Suarez coming out of the bullpen, and the ball just wasn't coming out of Ranger's hand as well as it was in the first half. I could feel them missing Wheeler.
That's exactly right.
And the bullpen's not great.
That's exactly right. I got a lot of close friends that are pretty hardcore Phillies fans, and I think for casual Phillies fans, let's just say other baseball fans, other team fans,
yeah,
you might come in and be like, why is Aaron Nola not getting you excited as the leadoff starter? And I think it speaks a lot to this season. It was a real fall off from the 3.57 to 24. He's rocking a 6.01, and it's something's different. Do you know what really happened there? Do you have any dirt on that? What was going on with our boy Aaron Nola straight out of Louisiana?
Well, I don't know what was going on with him when he was coming out of Louisiana, but yeah, I would say that a good amount of it is batted ball things and peripheral stuff. I mean, he has a 4.24 xERA this year, so yeah, he's probably not a number 3, number 2 starter anymore. I think most people wouldn't really contend with that, but is he a 6 ERA guy? I don't think so. I mean, it's also only over 95 innings. The 1.35 whip isn't great, but again, that's more like a middle of the road starter than it is a guy getting his back blown out with a 6-7 ERA, right? So 33.5 chase rate, that's really strong. That's 93rd percentile.
Oh my goodness, this is just in. Okay, so update on the Mariners and Tigers game. Will Vest goes a full 2 innings, takes out the heart of the order, strikes out Leo Rivas. I think he pinch hit to get the third out at the bottom of the ninth inning. At the top of the 10th, Logan Gilbert comes in to replace Andres Munoz.
So yeah, top of the 10th, Logan Gilbert is now in the Mariners' number one starter. Munoz is out. Will Vest filled in admirably out of the bullpen for Detroit. He ended up finishing with 4 Ks over 2 innings, only gave up the 1 hit. Rivas was set down, although we can't forget that he did have the tying hit there that has brought this game into extras back in the bottom of the 7th. So big hit by Rivas. It's a lot of times it's not the guys that you expect, who end up coming through. So
that's the beauty
top of the 10th inning.
That's right. Beauty of playoff baseball right there. Tigers are an interesting spot now. They got Dingler and Meadows and Baez.
Yeah, Dylan Dingler's probably looking at a Gold Glove this year. He's been fantastic. He's probably the only American League catcher who's been better than Cal from behind the plate. And, obviously he's not doing the things offensively that Cal's doing. Nobody is, particularly no catcher. But he's been terrific. He's got 10 runs for blocks above average, 4 for caught stealing above average, 7 for framing. So he's 95th percentile for blocking, according to Baseball Savant. So
that's incredible.
He's been fantastic this year, and he hit 278. It's hard to find a catcher who's going to hit 278 in a league that's hitting barely over 240.
So is this 2 days of rest for Logan?
Yes, I believe so.
Gotcha.
Yep.
We know what happens when the Mariners bring in starting pitchers late into a game in the playoffs.
Yeah, the thing is, right? You're rolling the dice. Anything you do, you really are.
That's right. Yeah, you know what? I like that about these managers. Dan Wilson and AJ Hinch. Sorry, I have this part of my brain as an Astros fan that just gets overridden. I can't. He who must not be named. I can't talk about AJ Hinch. No, we miss him down in Houston all of the time. It's interesting when these two managers get to go to battle against each other. They tend to manage a lot, and Hinch has been criticized for obviously the Greinke pull early in 2019 World Series, but
right.
Look, everyone's a Monday morning quarterback. You're gonna get blamed for whatever you do. Dan Wilson, if the Mariners lose this game, some people will say he shouldn't have pulled Kirby at 66 pitches, but look, you got to make some moves. You do the best you can, and it's kind of a nothing burger statement, but look, let the guys play, but also let the coaches manage. They know what they're doing.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of inside baseball people saying that because Kirby's velocity was coming down. It had dropped in the last inning or inning and a half, and he was also missing a little more. And he was good today, but he kind of made the most of what he had. He was falling behind in counts a few times. He was also throwing a lot of sliders, which is somewhat antithetical to the way that he, typically pitches. So he's usually not as slider heavy as he was today, which to me is an indication that maybe he wasn't confident in the fastball. He typically only throws that slider about 27% of the time. And I think at one point he was over 50%, if I remember correctly. So definitely relying on that slider pretty heavily. And sometimes it wasn't breaking the way that he wanted to. He had a few at-bats where it's 2-2, trying to get that slider in on a right-handed hitter, and it's just not breaking the way that you want it to. So he was missing a few times, but he was good today for sure. He got him what they needed from him.
Didn't he wrap with 12 Ks though? And I remember watching the early part of the game thinking his pitch count is just staying awfully low. It was only his one mistake you could say is the Javi Baez hustle double, and the broadcast was talking about how he was having to throw the slider because the Tigers' game plan was to lay off the high fastball. And yeah, he's normally pinpointing 98 effortlessly, as we've covered before. He's like Bob Ross out there painting clouds on the corners. But
yeah, when he's at his best, for sure.
I just love watching that guy pitch. It's interesting tonight watching this game. These are my two favorite pitchers in the MLB to watch. George Kirby, Tarek Skubal. It was just such a treat to watch. I'm very curious to see how this game wraps. But Robles, Crawford, and Rosarena are up next. Who is AJ Hinch going to bring out of the pen?
So let's see. You got righty, lefty, righty. I don't think you're going to go lefty for Crawford.
No.
Just looking at who's available here.
Yeah.
You're probably going Hannafy or Melton. I think you're going to use Canley later in the game. I think, man, you're probably going Hannafy, right?
I'd be lying if I said I knew the depths of the Tigers bullpen for chess-like moves. That's where I'm going to have to defer to you.
No, that's fair enough. And for the Mariners' part, I mean, Logan's on 2 days rest, like you said, and he's 9 pitches in. So, I mean, he could probably go another inning, but you probably can't do more than that. Bizardo had gotten hit pretty hard. Oh, did they go with Melton?
They did. They went with Melton.
Yeah, Bizardo for Seattle got hit hard, in game 4, and then Spear got hit hard, and Spear gave up another run today. Man, he was so reliable this year. 2.61 ERA in 76 games.
Yeah, that was just a weird pitch. I would call that a wash. I mean, baseball isn't really forgiving like that about what it should be, what it ought to have been. But, he went inside on Carpenter. Great little pitch, changed his eye level, and then he just left a fastball over the plate. Like, what are you going to do?
I mean, yeah, the interesting thing is, it's the right matchup. I think Carpenter had, like a 638 OPS versus lefties, just off the top of my head, something like that, this year. So, you're not really expecting him to just like hit a bomb off a guy of like a premium left-handed reliever.
And that's exactly the point. I wonder, this is my thought, is psychologically, do you think that the lefty-lefty matchup for the defense has this like negative impact where you become overly confident in your matchup in the numbers? So you think, okay, they're going to see the ball less. I can get away with being a little cavalier with my fastball location.
Maybe we should ask Robbie Ray how he feels about
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, because Robbie Ray is I'm serious, perfect example. He goes up
Jordan just demolished Robbie's life, dude. I'm just glad Robbie was able to recover, to be honest with you.
Awesome career arc, heading out west. Update, Victor Robles has just doubled to right fielder Kerry Carpenter, nobody out. It's looking
and I think it's worth mentioning, first pitch that Melton threw in the game.
It's looking like the Mariners versus Blue Jays at this point, boys.
Let's not get at it. I don't want you jinxing the M's, man, because the Mariners strike out a lot.
You have to understand, when a man is trying to jinx, that's when the no-hitter continues.
I understand. I know what we're doing here. I've been watching baseball for a long time. The Mariners got 17 Ks today.
It's
17 Ks. So I see what you're doing. And they only got one walk, right? They're 6 for 32.
Oh my God!
They got
Rally's
the double
up.
from Naylor and the double from Robles. No homers. Carey has the only homer of the game, right? Yeah.
Here's the thing: you got to go all out against Crawford. You got to attack him. You got to go all out against Rosarena because he's over 3 and he's just not doing it. And then Rowley's up next. You put him on the free bag and you pray for a force out.
Actually, I don't think that's what you do.
What do you do?
You know why? It doesn't matter. So if you have Robles on second base and you have Cal up with 2 outs, it doesn't matter if Cal scores, right?
Right.
So a big part of what makes Cal such a threat, the power, the slug, the WOBA, it's kind of irrelevant in that situation, right? Really what you're focused on there, and this is something that I harp on for this situation, is batting average. So do I want to face Cal or do I want to face Julio if I'm protecting against a base hit?
Right, that's why you walk Cal.
I think you go after Cal because he strikes out a lot and he's not the contact hitter Julio is.
Interesting. What's
Now,
his batting average for the year? 260 something?
Cal,
Yeah.
let's guess and then I'll look it up.
I think I'm going to go 261.
I'm going to go 247.
Wow. We swear we love Cal.
That might be low. Let's see. 247.
Jeez, I was generous.
Yeah.
My father-in-law is goated for calling the Aaron Judge MVP way early.
Who called that?
My father-in-law is goated. He believes in not the Cal Raleigh platinum glove hype. Unlike the Painting Corners podcast. But I see his point, I have to say. I know that's not topic for discussion today, but Cal is amazing. That throw down to second tonight was awesome to get, was it McKinstry?
Well, I do want to dig
Keith.
into that a little bit. So when you say he doesn't believe in the platinum glove hype, is that to say that he doesn't think he's the defender that other people think he is?
No, it's not. It's saying, and this is not saying you're making this argument, but it's saying Aaron Judge, his OPS, his batting average, the hitter he is.
Yeah.
You can't just we can't just simply cherry pick and take these like ancillary though meaningful metrics and throw them in to be counterweights to the fact that Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball. And I tend to agree with that take. I think that if I'm a detective and I'm getting that narrow field of focus and I'm like, okay, this is my guy, that's when the platinum glove is going to be a really convincing argument. It's going to be like, you look, man, he's clutch, he's helping the city make it to the playoffs, there's some meaning. But it sort of feels like I'm throwing in free stuff with the call now for just 1995. You know, Billy Mays selling me stuff on an infomercial. You know, it's like the free spatula I'm getting for my couch leather repair kit that I didn't need. You know, it's important, it's meaningful, it speaks a lot to his story and his character, I think. But at the end of the day, Aaron Judge is the hitter that I want in a clutch situation.
Well, or, you know, Cal is like when you go to IKEA and you buy your whole kitchen in one purchase, right? You get the glove, right? You get the leadership, you get the game call.
Hey man, you called him IKEA.
Yeah. Hey, I love IKEA. I'm pro IKEA, bro, and I'm pro platinum gloves, and I'm pro B War and F War and Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'm actually usually pro B War, but with catchers, you got to go F War because of the pitch framing and some of these other things that Baseball Reference doesn't really care much about or measure, for that matter. But you know, the big thing that I would have to say about the MVP situation is you got to remember that Judge played, I think, under 100 games in right field this year. So he was hurt for like 6 weeks or something. Didn't play at all. And then he was.
Oh, they did it. They did it.
Wow. They put
I called
Cal
it, baby.
You did. Well, you said what you think they should have done. But yeah, you're right. They did do it. I don't know. I mean, I guess. You know what this is? I think because Julio's a 267 hitter this year. 20 points higher.
If Julio does it, if Julio hits the classic Julio like bloop line drive single dumped into center field, people, are they going to rush the field? They're going to rush the field.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's Seattle. Yeah. Public unrest is a thing there. It's a virtue, right?
I mean, it's been over 2 decades, man. They're going to do it.
Dude, oh my God. Okay, swinging strike, 98-2, right in Julio's wheelhouse. Yikes.
I think how are you ahead of me on Gamecast?
It's that Lafayette internet, baby. We don't miss.
We go. Okay, Lafayette.
To wrap the point.
Somehow it just fires right through the bayous, dude. It's just so lightning quick.
He got him out.
Did he?
I'm not going to lie to our listeners. We're having a sit here as we watch an MLB Gamecast with bated breath. I really cannot wait to see how this thing wraps. I kind of want to watch it on the television. Should we cut it here?
Yeah, we can wrap here. The one thing that I do want to comment on for the MVP thing, just to wrap that up, is switch hitter breaking records, catcher breaking records. Calling a game, there's a lot more to it than non-inside people think. And, for him to have, arguably the best season ever by a catcher, I think you can make a good argument for that and still not win an MVP. It's kind of ridiculous, right? You have the best season that anyone's ever had at your position, and you don't win an MVP. I mean, what's the guy supposed to do? And then you got Aaron Judge, who, you got Dalton Varsho on third a couple months ago, and he saw Aaron Judge was in right field, and he just went and scored home because Aaron Judge can't make that throw. So, I mean, he's costed his team because he's hurt. Is that his fault? I mean, that's not really the conversation here. The conversation is most valuable player through the 162 stretch. So that's where we'll leave it. Let us know what you think, guys. Comment, send us email, social, that kind of thing on who you got for MVP, and we'll react to the Mariners game online.
That's all we got for you tonight, everybody. Thanks again for tuning into the Painting Corners Baseball Podcast. I'm your co-host, John C. And that's Aidan Smith. See you safely off till next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Baseball for the loyal fan from spring into fall. Aidan's talking facts, John's postulating them all. Through training camp, the dog days, seasons, ebbs and flows. Losing streaks and winning ones, they're talking about it all. Listening to Painting Corners, a baseball podcast with insights for you. Listening to Painting